Matt CrossFit Inconceivable community, Coach Amelia here with part 2 of the No Rig Cindy workout series. This is the explanation of the workout with technique tips and scaling options. Today's workout is No Rig Cindy. This is a 20-minute AMRAP, or as many rounds and reps as possible, of these 3 movements: 5 single arm snatches, 10 push-ups, and 15 air squats. For the single arm snatches, you will need an object that you can take from ground to overhead in one movement with one arm. So you can decide on the weight of that, if you have a dumbbell or a kettlebell, a water jug, or anything you have around the house that you can lift from ground to overhead in one movement. It's the choice you have to do either 5 all in one arm for a round, so right 5 times, and then when we come to the next round, switch and do the left. You could also alternate each time, right, left, right, but then do remember to start with the left arm the next time so you start to even out the balance between the two. Give you options for the push-ups and the air squats. And you might recognize Cindy as a 20-minute AMRAP of similar movements, but instead of the snatch, we have pull-ups. But because we have no rig, this is the adaptation that we're making. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Go get your object. And also, if you need to have an elevated surface for your push-ups, like a chair or a box or the couch, a table, you can move that a little bit closer as well. And then let's get started reviewing these movements. So I do have a dumbbell here for my snatches, and that's a great choice if you have one, but again, anything that you can lift from ground to overhead will be great. The snatch is taking the object from the ground all the way overhead in one movement. And it's low, right? A dumbbell is low, and most likely anything you're choosing from the house is going to be relatively low, even different than a barbell that might be at this level. And so I have to reach a little bit lower. I really want to make sure that I'm sending my hips back and I'm adding enough knee bend to get there without having to bend and lift it up this way. And so let's just practice that as a deadlift. So whatever object you have, we're just going to lean down, grab it, lift it up to hip height, down and up. Let's get 5 with each arm. I'll just keep in that arm that whole time. Okay, and I'm leaning, bending as much as I need to, still keeping the hips back and the knees back. I'm not bending here to pick it up. That turns into a squat. I'm staying here, and my non-working arm is not touching my body. Okay, and then we can switch which arm is lifting. Okay, so it's important to remember, especially as we get to the later stages of this workout, to keep that chest tall and proud and to not allow the back to kind of break as we get to the bottom, even on the release. Okay, always keeping here as we come through that movement. The next thing we're going to do is a high pull. And so we're going to take it from the floor, we're going to zip up our shirt, elbows high, and I'm keeping the dumbbell or the object close to my body. Okay, we're going to get 5 with one arm for these as well. Stand up, elbow high, high, keeping it close. You're zipping up your coat. Nice. All right, and then we'll switch sides. 1, 2, and accelerate fast, pressing your legs down to the floor. All right, and now we're going to take it all the way to the top of the movement. And a couple options that you have are to just muscle it and just take it up, coming to straight stance. Or if you need to, if the weight's getting heavy, especially at the end of the workout, you can re-dip and then stand tall. But you need to be like this, locked out, and the arm extended at the hips at the end of each movement. So whether you take it up and muscle it, standing tall, or take it up and re-dip, you have to get all the way tall to finish the movement. Let's do 3 on each side for this. So again, tall, proud chest. I'm going to re-dip and stand tall. 2, 3. Good. Other side. 1, 2, 3. All right, that's the snatch. If it's too much, or if you feel like getting all the way to the ground is going to have you start to do this at the end of the movement, you could take them from the hang, and that would be to the knee, and still coming up and overhead, but just to there, okay? If you're switching hands each time, you can hand it to yourself anytime you're below your shoulder, or you can take it to the ground and switch in between, okay? So those are the options. If for any reason you're having a lot of shoulder issues, you can choose to do an upright row, and you could do that with the same object and come here, okay? Or if it's a particularly light object, you could do that with one arm each time for 5 single arm rows. Again, it would just be 5 single arm or 5 pulls this way each round. Okay, those are some options for the snatch or the pull, because again, we're trying to mimic the muscles we're using in the pull-up. Next is the push-up, and the movement standards for the push-up are to get all the way chest to ground. Okay, in a plank position, lower chest to ground, elbows are close, and then press yourself up, all in one motion as well. Down, elbows to the ground, and pressing back up. If that proves too much, one nice way to shift it is to get an elevated surface, to keep the arms close, stepping back into that plank, lowering the chest to the object, and pressing back up. That allows you to get the full range of motion to practice keeping your core long without as much of your weight. You're creating a little bit of a leverage there for yourself. You could also do some warming. So later in the workout, as this happens, where we lift up a little bit and then get to the top of the push-up. Okay. You could also use your knees, lower and lift from there. It's fine for 10 each round, and push-ups can go away, and they're hard to get back. So breaking up into small sets is smart as we go through, or if you want to pick a smaller number, maybe you could go 3, 6, and 9 for these movements instead of 5, 10, and 15. That's always a choice as well. You're still going to work for that same amount of time in that situation, or if you need to, like we said, you can always cap this workout maybe at 15 or 10 minutes if that seems more doable for you. Last, we're going to talk about the squat. And let me move this so you can see my feet. So my feet are just wider than my hips, and everybody has a little different squat stance. Some people are much wider. They don't really want to go too much narrower than our hips here, and the feet are just turned out a little bit. And the first thing we want to do when we squat is to sit back. Okay, so I don't want to just start to drop down here. That's really tough on my knees. It requires a lot of ankle flexibility I don't have. And I really want to load my quads a little bit more. So if I sit back first and then lower, getting my hip crease below my knees, and then stand tall. Working on keeping the chest up so I can spot kind of the corner of the ceiling and the wall there as I sit and stand. Okay. If you're working on depth, you might use that same object that you use for your push-up and sit to that. Okay. If you're working on some support for the squat, that's always an option. And you can always do fewer of them. As I said, maybe 3, 6, and 9 is your number for this. Let's get one practice round just to get that flow of the workout. And maybe let's use that 3, 6, 9 rep scheme for the practice round, okay? And so I'm going to do right, left, right for my snatches for this. I haven't quite decided yet what I'll do for the workout, but this is what I'm going to do for the practice round. So I'm going to jump it up tall, and down to the ground, switch, 2, 3. I'm going to do my 6 push-ups, arms close, warming the chest to the ground. All right. And then 9 squats. All right, and that's kind of the gist of the workout. I'm going to show it to you one more time. For visual, no rig Cindy, 20-minute AMRAP, 5 single arm snatch, either alternating or all on one side, but then switching the arm the next round, 10 push-ups, and 15 air squats, with options to modify the movements, to modify the rep scheme down to 3, 6, and 9, or to shorten the time cap. I'll keep this going 20 minutes, but if you need to stop at 10 or 12 or 15, do what's best for you, and then next time, try to get a little farther. All right, come back for part 3 and we'll do the workout.